Hi everybody, back to the one and only Bob. So we left off where Bob was going for a walk and he saw Snickers. Remember his friend from the mall? Snickers belonged to Mac, and Julia actually is a dog walker and she walks Snickers, and he was teasing her when she went by. And then he says another annoying acquaintance of his appeared, and we were trying to guess who that was. Well, it's a brand new character called Nutwit. Nutwit, the gray squirrel who lives in the live oak tree in front of our lawn, jumps to a lower branch looking at me with barely concealed pity. Pity is when you feel sorry for someone. I hate pity, especially the barely concealed kind. I don't know why you tease her, he says. You're hardly in a position to talk, Bob. You are Snickers. Come over here to the window and say that. So you can, what, drool me to death? Are you aware that my best friend is a gorilla, I ask? You would make fantastic ape chow, dude. Nutwit reaches for a dangling acorn and yanks it free. I thought gorillas were vegetarians. Ivan eats termites, I said. He might make an exception for you. Face it, Bob, you're soft. You're one step away from your own pink rain boots. He has a point, said Minnie, one of the family's guinea pigs, from her cage next to the TV. No, he doesn't, said Moo, her cage mate. Yes, he does, Minnie squeaks. Doesn't, does, doesn't, doesn't. Minnie pauses. Wait, you tricked me. The guinea pigs rarely agree on anything. Nutwit leaps over to the window ledge, acorn in paw. He presses his tiny, twitchy nose to the screen. You couldn't last a day out here, Bob. Some of us have to live by our wiles. Hey, I lived on the street longer than you've been alive, Bob said. Nutwit nibbles his acorns. He's quite the eater. Whatever you say, Bob. I say scram. Fine, hint taken. Anyway, storm's en route. I should be stocking up my nut stash while I can. Nutwit gives me a wise guy look. That's how we do it in the real world. He scampers off with a flourish. Squirrels never do a simple jump when a quadruple backflip cartwheel is an option. You're full of it, I said to nobody in particular. We're full of it, said Minnie. Yes, we're extremely full of it, says Moo, and they popcorn in agreement. Guinea pigs hop up and down when they're happy. It's called popcorning, and it's totally ridiculous. You're happy? Wag your tail like a real mammal. I am not soft, I mutter, nosing my protruding belly. I leap with effort off the couch. Then I head to the bathroom for a good long drink from the water bowl of power. I know Nutwit has a point. I've become a creature of habit, spoiled after a stretch of being on my own. For a long time I was Bob the cunning beast and streetwise. As a stray, I lived off of leftovers at the mall while Snickers dined on her fancy pant kibble. Man, how I loved that cotton candy stuck to the floor. The unexpected UFOs, the ends of ketchup-covered hot dogs scattered under the bleachers like, I don't know, big toes or something. Ivan offered to share his gorilla food with me, and Stella and Ruby were always ready to pass along a carrot or an apple. But I refused. I needed to stay in shape, stay tough, stay true to my wild nature. Okay, so every now and then I'd sneak a banana from Ivan's breakfast, just a chunk. But then things changed. I became civilized with Julia, domesticated, a pet. And there's Bob's bed now in Julia's house. Much different from sleeping on Ivan's belly, isn't it? Don't get me wrong, there are definitely some perks. Julia, who's an artist, painted my name on a food bowl. She gave me this wonderfully mushy blanket, the kind where you can bed boogie forever till it's squished to perfection and you can curl up just so. I love that blanket, but I simply cannot sleep without Not Tag, Ivan's raggedy old toy gorilla. Of course, just when I get my blanket and Not Tag imprinted with the right amount of Bob smell, Julia's mom does the unthinkable. She puts them in the washing machine and removes every last bit of me. There are other indignities I tolerate. The daily walk on a tug-of-war string after going stringless my whole life. The attempts to train me, like that'll ever happen. The kisses and the cuddling, well, the cuddling's okay, I suppose. But the kissing, I just don't get. If you want to kiss your dog, why not just give him a big old lick on the face and be done with it? Anyways, so what if I've gotten a little spoiled? A tad soft around the edges. There's a difference between soft and being afraid or being a coward. Too bad I know the truth. I'm both. When Julia returns from walking her charges, I race over and give her a good old Bob-style hello. Lots of yipping and twirling, followed by some attempts to jump into her arms. Humans love that stuff. Julia looks at me sternly and says, "Robert, down." I leapt some more because I'm determined to convince her that I'm incorrigible, untrainable. It's part of my charm, my Bobness. "Down," she says again. From her coat pocket, she pulls out a little metal clicker along with some treats. I hate that clicker. It's meant to help train me, but it's like a cricket bully. Here's the theory. I do something right, Julia clicks. She gives me a treat. The click tells me when I'm behaving, and the treat reinforces it. If that happens enough before your very eyes, I'm supposed to transform into a good dog. Well, I'm not that easy. "Down, Bob." Julia tries again. I want a treat, but not enough to cave, so I opt for a play bow, a compromise. Julia sighs, "You're definitely a challenging student." To my annoyance, she puts the treats back in her pocket. I think Julia might be onto my tricks. A while ago, Julia got it into her head that I needed to improve my manners. We went to a dog training class. I really wasn't into the whole sit, stay, do the tango kind of stuff. The worst command of all, the truly inexcusable, only a human could come up with order, leave it. Leave it. It means walk on by, Bob. Sure, there's a piece of bacon just inches from your drooling pie hole. But do me a favor and pretend it's not there, okay? Not okay. Where I come from, you never pass up a free meal. Something drops to the carpet, it's UFO, I call it mine. And I'll be chowing it down before you can say, "Where is my meatball?" Within minutes, I was accused of being an unmotivated student, which is totally unfair. I am really highly motivated. Just show me some cheese, please. And anyways, I may or may not have been a little unruly. Class clown kind of thing. Tail spinning, a little random peeing, some zoomies just for show. "Class, you see that crazy dashing around he's doing," said the teacher, pointing at me with an accusing finger. "We call that a FRAP, frantic random activity period." She pulled Julia aside and said, "He is a smart dog, you know, Julia, but he's messing with you," which was true. But I hated getting caught in the act. I thought I was more subtle. "Bob needs to know who's boss," said the teacher. "He needs to see you as the pack leader. Give him some time. I see this a lot with former strays. It takes them a while to trust people. Like forever in my case." As we left the class early, I yelled, "So long, suckers," to my classmates. Couldn't help rubbing it in just a little bit. I suppose the real reason for my training stuff isn't my bad manners, although they leave a bit to be desired. It's my car thing. I've always had a hang-up about cars and trucks. Also riding lawnmowers, go-karts, anything with 4 wheels, an engine, and a driver. Don't like them, don't want to ride in them, don't want anything to do with them. Those co-pilot dogs with their heads hanging out of the window, flying their drool flags, they're boneheads. First of all, it's not safe. And second of all, bad stuff can happen to you after you climb into a car. Take it from me. And when Julia and George and Sarah realized I have transportation issues, they tried to lure me into the back seat of their car with treats. But you'd be surprised how stubborn I can be. I yelped so loud, the neighbors came running out to see what was happening to the poor little doggy. Score 1 for poor little doggy. That's when they started clicker training me. Click, here's a treat. Come closer to the car, Bob. Click, here's a treat. Watch while I open the car door, Bob. Click, here's a treat. Come right up to the seat, Bob. Click, here's a treat. Come on in, Bob. Bob? are you, Bob? Yeah, it was a lot like that. Still haven't been in a car, or a truck, or a tractor for that matter. Then I have to go to the Rhymes with a Pet threat. Julia and her parents walk me there. They say elephants have long memories. Well, so do dogs, people. It's not like I'm afraid. I'm just exercising my options. I'm going to stop there, boys and girls, so come join me again tomorrow, okay?